I don't. I
Sorry,
feel
say
like
that again,
mine.
Nick.
How hot are your guys' takes for the movie?
I don't know.
I don't
I
know
don't
that
know
it's
how hot my
terribly
take
hot.
is gonna be.
Yeah.
Nick said he was going in with a hot take to me.
No,
Okay.
I wasn't.
No, that was just a lie. That was just
A lie. What? Oh, everyone's gonna fucking betray you, Chris.
no. You were
No,
just like, "Oh, Chris, I'm gonna come in firing."
no, I didn't.
You said you had
Yeah,
a hot take like a couple days ago, like
I
yesterday
didn't
or
say hot.
something.
I didn't say hot take. I was saying
You
like
said
I had
hot
a
take.
take.
You said
I don't know if it's hot.
hot take. You told
you're
I
gonna
know
spike this ball.
fucking
You know what? I'll
So-
say it, and then you can decide if it's a hot take.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I know because you were doing that thing where you're like, I want to talk about the movie, and I'm like, let's just wait till tomorrow when we're doing the podcast.
No.
I was like, yeah, let's just fucking wait. Ian, you said you're gonna have a hot take.
Wait. Now I feel gaslit. Shit. Maybe I did.
You know what? I actually don't know either. We would have to
You're
go
just
back
assuming.
and.
You're saying everyone says that hot take.
I know. I said I'm not sure. I'm not sure if my take's hot.
I'm definitely interested in talking about the film. I said I was very excited to talk about the film.
Okay, that's different. That's different.
I don't really know. Well, I don't really. I only know one thing about how this film has been interpreted, and I'll say that I
Interesting.
only am vaguely kind of. Okay, yeah, I get it, and we can get into the details on that.
Yeah. So we haven't said the movie yet. I mean, it's in the title of the podcast, but today we are watching as a little Halloween bonus month, and we'll get into what the Halloween month will entail at the end of this podcast. So stay tuned for that. We watched We're All Going to the World's Fair.
Oh my goodness!
Directed by Jane Schoenbrunn.
Mm-hmm.
Schoenbrunn.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. This is their. I think they said it was like their second technical debut or something, like their second movie or film debut. It might be first. I'd have to double check it. I know I read they were a producer for a lot of stuff.
They've actually produced a whole host of things, such as
So
Black Soil, Green Grass.
done.
Yeah, loads of stuff. Stuff.
Yeah. So we watched We're All Going to the World's Fair as our little preliminary to Spooky Month, which we'll get into. We'll get into the horror of this if there be one, other than like it's a little it's disturbing if you think about it.
It's very grounded.
Yeah.
We'll say that. Like, as I was, cause I don't know what I expected necessarily.
Me neither.
I knew that I knew that the movie was directed by the person who did I Saw the TV Glow.
That was the only thing I knew about it too. And
we'll talk about that.
Movie. Yeah, we'll get to that later.
But I knowing that movie reputationally, having watched that movie, I watched this and I was like, oh, this is very different. This is very different. I felt like I kept waiting for something. Well, let's follow the format of the show. Sorry, I'm getting too ahead of myself here.
It's all good. Yeah, I don't know what I was expecting. The only thing I knew was I guess from an article I read, or it might not have even been. It might have just been a quote. Because I don't remember what the rest of the article said, but it was a quote of like, having watched Twin Peaks season 3 was like the reason they wanted to make a movie, like type deal.
Oh,
or to make film. Like that's what like really motivated them, because it was something they had never like seen before, and it was like, you can do this type deal.
Yeah.
So I had that in my head.
Okay.
And that was pretty much it. So that might have been a better like preconceived notion. I mean, we're kind of already in it, but like, yeah, if we're talking about oh my god, where's my little book of notes? Oh my god! If we're talking about the rising action here, which is everything we knew about movie before, and that was pretty much it. I knew
Right.
they directed I Saw TV Glow, and I knew that quote.
Okay.
Which again, I don't even remember the rest of the article, so I could be like fucking that up. But
Well, what about you, Nick? What did you know kind of coming into this project?
I mean, honestly, little to nothing.
Okay.
I only heard the title back then, and that it was very mixed. Apparently, like a very mixed film. That's all I knew.
I can also say I don't think we're the target audience, if there ever was one.
If there was a target, well, here's the thing.
Except for the fact that we grew up around. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
There are parts of it that connected for me, but I agree with you. Just like, if I was a little bit younger, this would probably devastate me cosmically, I imagine. Yeah.
If I was a little bit younger, if I was a parent, in the age of the internet, or specifically YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, that part kind of connects with me because I got into not so much getting into ARGs except for like watching stuff about them and like reading up on them because it fascinated me, right? In college and being really into that stuff, and then the rise of unfiction happening. I mean, I was in high school / middle school, high school when like creepypastas were becoming the thing. And I would only hear them about through my friends because, like, funny enough, my folks were very strict about internet use growing up.
Really?
Yeah. All the internet stuff I know is a lot of it's like I was late. Right. And I was just kind of like, I have that thing of, you guys have seen it with me with music, where I find out about something, I go, oh, there's this whole past, I'm going to go check this out. And then, reading creepypastas in high school and then all that stuff, but I never participated in like an ARG or unfixed. No, it would be an ARG if it incorporated audience and influence.
Right.
No, I just knew a lot about him. I knew a lot about him. So it's funny when my sister's like watching stuff on them, and then they're bringing names. I'm like, oh yeah, no, I remember when that ended. And then like they'll call them old. When it's that like 2018 horrifying. Is when it finished, and I went, yeah, I fucking guess that's old. We're getting close. That's like 6 years, I guess. Yeah, that's half a decade. People finished high school within that time, so fuck.
That's longer than they let you be the president for a shot. Yeah, man.
So I don't know. Things are weird. And we might be. We're like right after the last generation that remembers the time before the internet. Because
I think we're the tail end of it.
Yeah, because our memories did include the internet. It just wasn't. It was more widely available than before, but I mean, like, it wasn't for everything. I mean, okay, I'll say this: this generation still has just like, unless you're like broke, like kind of. I was, or we were like growing up, or at least not a lot of money, where it was the family computer, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. The one computer.
It was the one computer. You had memes about Mr. T that were just text and pictures.
Yeah. You had, man, I got one for the fucking Chuck Norris shit.
Oh yeah. That's almost the 90s, I think. Yeah. Like, because I do remember them printing, like, Chuck Norris bits were, like, really popular at the time. Chuck Norris was having his comeback, I guess. I don't know either. But
it couldn't have been because of Walker, Texas Ranger.
I've seen clips of that show, and I'm positive it's not real. I'm positive Walker, Texas Ranger is actually a bit Tina Fey did retroactively.
Or it was just something the Conan O'Brien show made up.
So that we can have fun clips.
So they can have a lever.
Yeah.
Liverpool. No, you don't believe the AIDS one is real? The AIDS
episode?
Was
just about
That's Chris, the one, dude. That's the It's that one. Whatever the dudes are from the future, right? With those
Oh my
future guns.
Yes.
Wow, I know a lot more about Walker Texas Ranger than I thought.
Listen,
That
that show was.
time. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Nick, what's your Walker Texas Ranger memory?
Oh,
Is
yeah.
it the AIDS episode
Oh, where the kid has AIDS?
where the kid has AIDS? If anyone hasn't seen that, just look at all you gotta do is watch that clip. All you gotta do is watch the kid talking about having AIDS.
We can clip the audio of just Tex and the kid.
So you know how I've been wanting to redo the stream stuff because like it's no longer a group. It hasn't been a group thing in like years, so I was just gonna make it a solo thing.
Yeah.
That included I wanted to change up the whole end video because we've been rocking that since the beginning, and I want to change it up. One of the clips I was gonna include is the kid saying he has AIDS. And I don't know if I would get in trouble for that. Like, I don't know.
Chris, it's a positive portrayal. He's overcome.
Well, hang on. We say positive.
Is that what Twitch is gonna see when I post that fucking clip? Like,
because it's the internet thing. If you have to assume the worst intentions all the time for everyone's safety.
That's fair.
So the instilled paranoia is that you see a kid say, "I have AIDS," and then it's on this dude's channel, and it's like, oh, apparently he loves the Chuck Norris.
He thinks joking about AIDS is funny.
He thinks kids getting AIDS is the funniest. And listen, that's not fair because no, never mind. I can't make that. Never mind.
It's like how there's so many 9/11 clips I wanted to include too that I'm like probably gonna get banned for that.
Let me steer it back to the topic expertly by just saying...
I want to talk about 9/11.
Oh, no, you want to talk about 9/11? I was going to say 9/11 bits are of that generation, though. Like, if you...
I would say that.
If you are of that generation, I think, like, some memeticism and humor about, like, especially if anyone brings out Jenga in a group setting, it's gonna, you're gonna do a bit. You're gonna do... Yeah.
Or if you know any New Yorkers love joking about 9/11.
Oh my god, they're actually better at it than a lot of people.
Dude, they got good shit. I take notes.
Actually,
when I hear that.
I was telling Chris about like a time where I ended up getting banned from a Discord server because of a 9/11 joke. Well, it was like it was two intentional and then one unintentional one, and they used the one unintentional one against me anyway. But like, what was funny was like, I told a friend that who is in New York their whole life, and then she told me, I don't know what their deal is. Everyone here in the city makes fun of 9/11 like all the time.
All the time.
American, like,
that,
and I have a theory of why.
I think it was like a other country thing.
Yeah, it's other country. Well, it's anywhere outside of New York and like probably just red state America like is probably gonna be most of the stuff. But I have like this whole working theory about it. But like I would want to do research. But that's a whole nother topic. That's a big topic.
That's a good one
for our next year's 9/11 episode. Sorry, we missed the boat on that one.
Dang it!
We
didn't forget.
We'll do better.
We will make note for year 2 of the podcast.
Our anniversary
cat.
Oh my god!
Technically, Halloween's gonna be our anniversary. I think.
This
one.
Yeah.
Technically, because like those first 3 episodes we said were kind of like a buffer, like to transition. Into it, so we could argue the first one of January is our anniversary. So we should talk about that later. If what we want to do with that.
Okay.
Anyway, we're all going to the World's Fair.
Yeah.
Very much so. If anything, that's proof that we do know the internet. If anything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, we are of that age. We are the first forebearers of the internet age. Yeah. Yeah.
The worst part of it, we're actually probably closer to whatever JBL is going on there.
Yeah.
That's the thing. If you want to talk about demographic.
Interesting.
Or just pure age and like what our use of the internet would be like,
Mhm.
I don't think it's it might be a coincidence why his computer setup looks like the way it is. But
he's got like a. What about what about his setup was kind of pink? What are you noticing that I did?
the giant wooden desk that's kind of framed around that feels like old. Like you would have the giant Dell monitor there. I mean, we had that growing up. It wasn't wood. It was like a cheaper like what was it? What's it called? Whatever the compacted wood. Yeah.
Yeah.
Compressed wood. I think it's just compressed wood.
Compressed wood would be in that because it was mainly like for my folks for an office. And then we didn't get like Nick and I didn't get that was the family computer, and then we did get a second computer, but that was an even older computer than the family one because my dad's work at the time was getting rid of stuff.
Oh wow!
So we were way behind.
Oh yeah, it was like late 90s.
Yeah. Oh man. So you did that.
So
that's okay. Anyway, we're jumping ahead.
Yeah.
We should talk about the movie itself in the climax. We're all going to the World's Fair. This movie starts with our protagonist or protagonist. I just had the name here. Oh my god. They're played by Anna Cobb. It's Casey. Casey is our protagonist. And they're trying to set up a video. Or they're trying to like put out their first video, and their first video is participating in
an
ARG, which sounds very much like going back to creepypasta thing.
Yes.
Ritual creepypastas where like you have to do this thing, and people try to tell a story through like, yeah, you got to do this game, like the elevator game, right?
Like yes.
And I'll be real, a lot of them are trashy, but there's a charm to ritual creepypastas that are fun. It really does feel like you're doing a Ouija boards in like the 70s or 80s, like you're participating in something you shouldn't be, something taboo, and like at a young age, something evil.
Something age like the Midnight Man and the elevator game are both. Yeah, that's a fun one. Yeah, look it up, guys, if you get a chance, listeners. But like, I don't think those existed before the late 2000s. I don't think I hadn't heard of them.
I know before... the elevator game's a creepypasta.
Okay,
so
they're like creations of the internet age, and I really did like that element of the movie that we immediately get. Oh, it's ritualizing the internet. It's that was interesting.
Yeah. So, but they're also. So it starts with the twist of like, they're also kind of setting up a performance because it is like a video that they're trying to record.
Yes.
It very much reminds me of the early days of when I was trying to do YouTube and podcast stuff, none of which became successful. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. Where you're just trying to, you do that thing where you do false starts beforehand. You get it, and you're like, what's your sign-on going to be? Although sign-ons are very, like, kind of newish. Not newish anymore, but I mean, like...
The expectation is a lot stronger now, definitely.
Yeah, where you got to start with, hey, guys, it's, my comparison point is always, as when you're a teacher, you have to write the date. You write the date and your name on the whiteboard every single day. Not because, kids are going to forget. They might. But not because of that. It's because it's to get people into a routine and to have their mindset like, all right, now we're going to learn.
Yes.
Type deal. So you have the sign-on thing. You're like, now we're watching this show. I mean, television's been doing it forever, so.
Yeah.
But anyway, I like that beginning scene. I like that. It felt real.
I loved I loved the pacing of that opening shot. It's about 5 minutes, 6 minutes where and there's long stretches of this movie where the camera is just, you're stuck from in a perspective, in a really interesting way. And we can
you're
talk
stuck
about that.
staring at this girl. That's this very young girl trying to set up a computer thing, and you're very close because it's supposed to be the computer screen.
Yes. Yeah. I exactly as you said, I was brought back to like those old vlogs when YouTube was just kind of starting up, but also that to see that new vocabulary, like as you said, like also the idea of like hit the bell, subscribe, blah blah blah, like that whole spiel now being you have to say it. If you don't say it,
in fact,
yeah.
Oh, sorry. You can finish.
Oh well, no. The numbers say if you don't do it, you're a fool. You have to. Yeah.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. As well as, did you know if I say click the like button or click the subscribe button in the YouTube viv, the like button will light up if I say click the like button.
Really?
Down below.
If any of us say please click the like button down below,
I think it only does it the first time.
Oh, okay.
But I like saying click the like button just to see if it lights up or anything.
We'll try that a few more times in the episode randomly.
Or if you're listening to the audio version, please subscribe. But yeah, click the like button. So all that little pre-ritual stuff.
But then there's an actual ritual wherein she kind of does a chant, a trance, pricks her fingers pretty aggressively, and then smears blood on the computer. Yeah.
Oh, and it's so brutal. Like it's so it's so fucking not brutal. It's more like, what's it called? I don't know what it's called when you try to do like home shit. Because she's taking like a little button and then pricking that, and it looks, and she has to like really get in there because it's probably old and rusty and like fucking. So it adds a little bit of that like flavor to it. Like it's like, fucking.
And she lives in an attic. We're in an incredibly claustrophobic space. Like,
I don't know, that's a pretty big room. I think that's a pretty cool room. But
it was a pretty it is a pretty tight room.
You know what, Ian, as someone who grew up with siblings and had to share a room for the first half of his life with someone, I think that's a pretty big room. And that they get it on their own, that's pretty cool.
I don't know. As an only child, I don't get it. I don't
yeah, you wouldn't. You wouldn't get that. No. You know what? The bunk bed is not just cool because it looks cool. It does look cool. The bunk bed is cool because you get more room for activities, just like in Step Brothers.
This is true. This is true. Or you get an L-shaped bunk, so you can put a desk down underneath one. Anyway,
it's a loftier bed.
Love that. So our protagonist, she is an aspiring YouTube participant in basically like an ARG based on a creepypasta about this.
Yeah.
Like I mean they never really give you too many details, truthfully, but like based on the context, like some sort of diabolical carnival, like demonic materializing carnival that like ferries you away basically if you solve the puzzle.
It's if we're talking about what like the World's Fair actually is and not like kind of what it stands for, because we'll get into that later.
We'll get to that.
It seems to be like a place where you go to and you kind of get lost there.
Yeah,
kind of like you're just there forever.
Yeah,
type deal.
Yeah,
right. You're a participant in this now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so we get that opening scene. We get a nice little music accompanied with shots of Middle America and just some really nice setting up, just real nice shots just to kind of give you the setting.
Beautiful snowy town in midwinter, it seems
but
like.
Also feels empty, like it feels isolated from the rest of the world.
Yes.
You're not seeing many people other than cars and trucks.
Yes.
Kind of walking and living about.
Yeah.
So it feels like one of those towns. It reminded me of this town, and I can say because it's not going to give away a location. It reminded me of this town called Victorville and
Mm-hmm.
Apple Valley, where it's like you have the big road in the middle. That's where all the
Mm-hmm.
shops are. That's where the traffic goes through.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest are like, sprawls out, right?
Right.
That's where it feels like. And we were looking at the road, but we're not seeing people come off the road. We're not seeing people hang out
No.
alone. And in
This-
fact, like we get the next time we see Casey, I think she's walking home, and she's by herself, and it looks like she's just walking. She came from like the woods or something on her way home from school,
Mm-hmm.
or like some
Mhm.
back way.
The movie does make Casey feel very isolated.
Yeah,
Throughout this film,
100%.
very much so. And
100%.
I mean, I'll compliment this actor right now. They did an amazing performance.
Yeah,
But even in scenes where they're having this rapport, you can see this kind of, I don't know, I was getting kind of a remoteness. She doesn't know how to be with people when she is with people.
yeah.
What a great act. But
Yeah, and we'll talk about more about that isolation later because I think it's
Sure.
a big point to the character,
Mhm.
and why she does what she does.
Mhm.
So we're finding out these little things of her trying to get into the game, and
Mhm.
even doing vlogs to be like, "Hey, I dreamt I was like, what was it, a vampire or something?" Or
Yeah.
and we don't know if she's telling the truth or she's doing that thing where it's like, yeah, no, I totally experienced something, like
Right.
there's a great, in fact, like it had me kind of full where I'm like, okay, so the reveal is like this ARG is gonna be real and type
Mhm.
deal. But that might also be because like that's where movies tend to go nowadays.
Yeah.
The slow burn and all that.
Yeah.
Then like the last 70, the last 25, if not less,
Mhm.
is like crazy.
Mhm.
Which does harken back to old 70s movies. But anyway,
Mhm.
yeah, so I was thinking that she puts out, and we find out kind of in an abrupt way that she's been putting these out for sure on YouTube. Like,
Yes.
or though they never use YouTube, and in fact they use a different loading animation.
And we do get these interstitials of like
Yes.
other YouTubers, and they're all real.
Yeah,
they're all
real
real
YouTubers.
YouTubers. May being a standout star. Delighted to see her in it. But it also, I don't know, the pace, again, the pacing. I want to talk about this film at this point because the movie is a slow burn, as you say, but it also kind of takes its time with fucking with you sometimes.
Yeah.
Like the juxtaposition of all of these videos that are cued in the auto cue. Like we just keep jumping from like music video, here's a little dumb thing, blah blah blah, and then immediately to like the analog horror video.
Yeah, the Marble Hornets, the the Everyman Hybrid thing of like they took this ARG and they made it into a fictional series.
Yes. And I'm calling you out also. Like it's a call out video and that. So
oh well.
Yeah, and I thought that was like so obvious to me now looking back. That's the obvious thing of like it was an ARG. Versus at first I thought, oh, people are taking what they think is an ARG that's actually real and then making content about it and shit because that's how it be. But yeah, there's a lot of that occurs in the movie where they're just watching YouTube videos and letting them run, just letting the internet decide what they're
what's
doing.
Gonna happen.
Yeah. And then we go to a cool moment where she's trying to sleep and goes to her shed, or it's a big ass garage. Yeah, shed thing. Walks out in a nice like single shot because we're following her the entire time.
Yes.
She goes outside. She has a lantern. It's cool. Again, you feel like you're on this journey with her, if anything. She goes into her shed and she pulls out a hunting rifle, although that must have been for some of what's known as today super deer that could have been mauled by that thing.
You know, Canadians are selling bulletproof vests to the deer, bastards.
That's bastards.
That's right.
Although I'm not a gun guy, so don't. That could be fake ass gun too, and I would have been full.
Sure.
I'm just gonna say hunting rifle, and she stares at it for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to ask what your guys' interpretation of that scene was at the beginning, because I had mine, which was my immediate thing was, oh, she's making sure when she's hanging out in this shed, she has protection and can light a motherfucker up in case.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And looking back, I have a different one now, but like, yeah, I want to hear your guys' thing.
Nick, why don't you go? I have
first time you saw that gun scene, right? Because she stares at it for a while.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She holds it open, but yeah.
Yeah, I thought she was gonna start blasting. I don't know, like. No, I think. I think with kind of what you talked about, Chris, that it kind of plays into that. I think, at least at the first, I didn't think much of it. Immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think like sort of what that was interesting was like the following scene with that, because there's kind of this thing of you have a very overt like form of feeling of protection, right?
Yeah.
With the shotgun, and then there's what she actually feels most comforted by, which is the ASMR video. To go to sleep.
Yeah. Okay. No, I know what you're pointing out, Nick, and put a pin in that, because that actually leads into a thought I have about the scene now that we're looking back on it. But I want to hear real quick Ian's interpretation the first time you saw it. Not what you think of it now, but the first time you saw it. What any notion, any ideas about that scene?
My mind immediately went to the anime guy. It was kind of grim. I don't know if anybody was a fan of there was an early YouTuber who was millions of people popular, and he
That's
posted
such a weird way to say millions of subscribers or viewers.
He had millions of
million
he had
people
millions
popular.
of subscribers. Million people popular.
I'm gonna use that. Hey, here at what we got out of it, we're tens of people popular.
We're tens of people popular. I see. It's a fun phrasing. People will it'll catch on. So I immediately thought of the guy who confessed to annihilating his family on his very popular channel, and then posted a suicide video on his channel. I felt like that was like a big traumatic thing for people on YouTube at the time. Like it was.
Yeah,
it was
found
really
out about
grim.
that way later. It was just like crazy shit that happened on YouTube.
Oh, Mr. Anime, or
yeah, that's it, Mr. Anime. Yeah,
that's tragic. That's what that is.
It's grim and but I saw a teenager holding a hunting rifle, and I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Her dad just shouted at her. Like, I think we're also given the context of she's not in.
Was that? Oh, you mean the person telling him to shut up? It's like 3 p.m.
Yes.
I don't think that was it. Was that in the same scene?
No, it's not the same scene, but I feel like it might have come before that ASMR out in the shed scene.
And we don't know who that is. It's obviously a male voice who sounds older and big. It's could have been a brother too.
Could have been.
Especially the way they were talking. I think it's a point. Sorry, let me say this real quick just before I lose that. I think it's a point in this movie that we never see the folks, that we never see the family, right? Or whoever she's living with.
Yes,
I think it's a very specifically chosen, not just because it probably would have cost more money, even though that might be true.
Yeah.
But I think it adds to the isolated feeling you get in this movie.
Yes, I
It could
agree.
totally be true they wanted the other character. It's very possible, but I'm gonna say the thing they went with right now, I think adds to that isolation.
No, I agree. It could be both. It can be
Yeah,
budget
it could
and
totally be
story.
both.
It could totally be both. I also think that dynamic, because at the end when what's the guy's name? LMB, something like that.
JLB.
ALB.
No,
When
JLB. I
JLB.
only remember this because it's like JBL, but it's not.
Not
It's JLB.
JLB at some point is he talks about reconnecting before, and I won't get too far ahead, but he explicitly says that she was in a group home at some point also, and we're not given context for that either. So I mean, what we said could be true.
I don't remember the group home. I remember she went to I don't know if he called it a group home. Are you talking about the ending monologue?
Yeah, the ending monologue and talking about her living with like
she was in assisted living.
Assisted living. That's it.
For like a year, they said.
Right.
Or no, it must have been like they said like 6 months, around 6 months or a year.
That's right.
And we'll get to that whole thing because that's the thing I want to talk about a lot after. But now that Nick's back, we saw a little bit of time.
I'm sorry.
Nick, you were pointing out that she follows it with the immediate comfort thing, which is ASMR, that's a real ASMR artist. Because my sister recognized them.
Oh,
and I thought that was funny. But like, but yeah, it's followed by immediate comfort thing. I like it totally clicks in my head. The scene that follows follows her before going to the before going to the shed is she was gonna record herself sleeping.
Yes.
And just decided not to. She didn't make that video. She had so to me, looking back now, I mean that feels like she's starting to lose the excitement or like motivation to keep going. Which is kind of like this participating in this game is her motivation to keep going in life type deal.
Yeah.
Or a little bit like that. But it's like she's not feeling the things people are feeling. She's not the dude on the treadmill slapping his face. Hilarious video out of context.
Excellent.
But
that's a video I make.
Also kind of funny if you think about that it's an ARG because that dude just thought that was what looks disturbing. And to a point it does, but it's really funny. I don't know. Maybe I wasn't supposed to laugh. But yeah, that she's not feeling anything, right? I do think she believes in the ARG for sure. I don't think it's an act at the beginning. But anyway, goes to shed, looks at the gun. So now my interpretation, like looking back in the movie, is like, so that's like suicide ideation going on.
Oh, okay,
which would be crazy. It would be different for a movie to do that because, like, usually I think when women or girls commit suicide in movies or like get or attempt it, it's either like wrist slashing or pills, and I know that kind of correlates to what happens in real life, which is and this is like statistics thing. It could have changed in the last couple of years, but the last I checked, it's like men will commit, if they commit suicide, is through like a very violent means that's pretty much one and done. Like it's a gunshot, it's jumping off, it's driving a car into a wall, it's something, or jumping in front of a train, jumping in front of cars.
Right.
Whereas women, usually it's like pills, overdosing, or slow killing, right? Kind of drowning themselves.
Going to sleep.
Going to sleep. That could be different now, and the statistics could be all different that I remember, but that's... So it's cool. So it's like... It was different for me to see that it was a rifle. Like, as the idea.
I like that. I like also on the idea of... do you remember... I don't know if you guys remember this, that Katie Stoll, I think, from Cracked, had done a bit about, like, the aesthetic corpse of a woman. like women need to die a certain way in movies. And her example being in The Departed, there's like 4 guys whose brains poop out the back of their heads when they get like clipped. I could only find like 2 movies where that ever happens to a lady. Why can't we make ladies' brains explode out the back of their
man, okay, you know what? I'm gonna send you some shit later.
Okay.
Have you?
Okay.
Do you know, Ian?
Mhm.
I don't know how degenerate you think yourself to be. Have you played the game Nike Goddess of Victory?
No, I've never played that game.
Okay,
No.
so I haven't either. I swear to God, I haven't. But but I've seen. I was watching Pat Stairs play it, just because they were talking about like it's actually a good game, and I'm like the one where the asses are in the middle of the phone jiggling as you're shooting robots. That's a good game. And then they played the intro, and all I saw was the intro. But there's a moment in there where like your big titted anime woman is like dying and they're a robot, so all their limbs are blasted off and like their body, but their torso is fine and their face is only kind of smudged, but everything's gone and obliterated.
Jesus fucking
and it's so fucking weird to look at, and it's comical. And it's all leading up to the scene where your MC putting them out of their misery because they have like a virus or some shit.
Oh, okay. Well, thank goodness it didn't go anywhere else. Okay.
Yeah, you don't see the gun. You don't. But you're right. You don't see the brains being blasted out.
Yes.
And you don't. And like, and I just said that you see that image. It's way less gruesome than you think. It's more of just like the idea because they're a robot and there's just things missing, but there's destruction. But it's weird what's clean. I mean, it's not weird. You know why it's like that.
It's for perverts.
It's for sick fuck. And it's so when they come back as a robot, they're still pretty to you, and you can download them. You can put in your gotcha money and win.
Chris, you can have your big.
I gotta show you this fucking scene, Ian.
Not have any arms or legs to run away. Like that's also a part of it, I'm sure. For the ghouls. Oh my god.
Nicholas, what do you have to say for yourself? I know I used your government name there, but what do you have? Why you like that?
Honestly, I lost track.
Okay, fair enough. Wait,
anyway, but that's like an interesting thing to talk about, right? Like, that's on.
No, I agree.
On screen.
I agree,
especially if you're doing like gender studies. Okay, but she goes to comfort, which is the ASMR thing to me solidifies for sure. YouTube is her comfort. Just put it on. I'm gonna go to sleep to this. I mean, if you think, for anyone older that thinks that's weird, people fall asleep with the fucking TV on all the time. Late night shows wouldn't exist if there weren't the cavalcade of people falling asleep to a Leno monologue or something.
Which people have done since like forever, dude. Yeah. Since radio was on, people just left a voice on to fall asleep to.
Dude, go ahead.
I was gonna ask, has anyone here? Maybe we've talked about ASMR before. I don't watch them because they freak me out. Honestly,
yeah, they freak me out. I don't like them. It feels weird. It feels like a sex thing that I don't want to be a part of or understand.
Yes, absolutely. I don't like how sexual it feels, and I don't like how non-sexual the situations are, and yet, here we are.
Yeah. We are. We're the minority, apparently.
I know. No. Everyone else, y'all are normal. We're the weird ones. But
it's weird to me.
I don't like it.
That'll be the question. You know what? Hey, that's our closing question. What's the thing you guys fall asleep to? We don't have to answer now. We'll answer it once we finish the podcast.
Okay.
Because let's get back to it. But okay, so
sure.
Back to the ASMR thing.
Yeah.
Then on rotation, a video, her face shows up distorted, and very reminiscent of the old creepypasta videos where like the eyes will kind of just go away and very stock creepy sound footage with flashing text that says we need to speak or I need to talk to you.
You're in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's weird. It's the whole situation of it's creepy because it's like, wow, that just showed up around. And to me, that was like, all right, we're in there. We're in there. It's ARG's real. Granted, that's some goofy ass shit. For horror. It's very reminiscent of early creepypasta, so I find it kind of funny. I also don't find like the face thing scary anymore. I feel like I haven't since I was maybe in like high school or middle school.
Yeah.
It's actually more comical to me, but
yes,
we get that and I'm like, all right, we're doing it. It's real. And no, we talked to this dude who sounds way too old to be
surprisingly old for being a big
crazy.
YouTuber.
Yeah.
And
we don't I don't know. Does he say he's a big YouTuber?
Well, he's fairly popular. We do see like
I think he says that and part of the people who are following, right?
Oh,
who are following this.
Okay.
Maybe I could be misremembering though.
Maybe and here's the other part. We talked about how there's real YouTubers. There's like an uncanny thing going on for me because his icon, I kept looking at and I could swear up and down like, oh, I feel like I've seen that channel. Like I feel like that's a real like creepypasta channel that may exist. Like maybe they've done a pastiche on a real guy. You know,
it's probably like inspired by it because it reminds me of like what's it called? Jeff the Killer like face that someone would draw real creepy, and then which is also like to me adds to the comedic effect of this voice coming out and staff photo. I'm like, the fuck is this dude? Like, what the fuck are you doing? On Skype of ultimate. But Nick, would you before we move on? Because I think this is to me like where we're kind of getting into where the movie starts moving, even though it's still a slow pace, slow burn thing. I think this is where we're getting into. This is kind of what the movie's about.
Yeah, no, and I do feel like this in terms of like first time opinion, just watching everything scene by scene like that did seem like it's so weird because I think kind of what you guys talked about. We were so used to experiencing ARG and weird internet stuff.
Yeah,
for years that it didn't really register to me that that's what was happening, and I realized that was the point. It's like this is like
it's old,
old, and like it's a reality question thing. Yeah.
Where it's a slideshow, no face, no actual voice. It's all like the most production are the words because you kind of see him on his desk, like in later shots of the movie. So he must have done that himself, or it's just a flashing light on black or something. That was the most production of it. Other than he learned to use fucking effects like on his video editor or something.
And I'm like, isn't that the guy from Children of the Corn? And it was. He was also in the Dead Zone.
Wait, what? Hang on. Yeah. The guy who plays JBL?
Yeah, he was in one of the X-Files episodes too. He was like on classic X-Files, man. Mulder Scully.
He was in 2 for the Money. Hey, sorry, I didn't even register. Oh my god.
I was like, he sounds familiar. I was like, oh, yeah.
I would have asked him about that movie.
He's also in Hellraiser, Hellseeker. He's the detective.
He plays Hannibal in Supergirl.
I'm Hannibal.
Supergirl. He's in Supernatural. 2 episodes. Oh, this guy's a working actor. This guy's been in a lot of things. He's a working actor. Hell yeah.
He's got some great credits in here.
Yeah, no wonder, because that monologue delivery is great at the end.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It's like one of the highlights of the movie.
That and then the conversation right before it where she does not see his face, but we can.
Yeah.
What a Well, I wanted to ask you something also, because I feel like this movie trades on ambiguity a lot of the
Yeah.
time with a lot of things, not showing us things, not explaining things to us. Um, when I was listening to him talk to her, and he has like kind of belabored breathing,
Yeah.
and the first time at least I was confronted with it, I immediately actually thought like, is this a dirty phone call? Is this guy like gross? Or is he just
I get
sick?
that.
And I couldn't really put my foot down one way or the other. So I was very off center for like that first
Yeah,
until
I'll be
we
real.
see
I
him.
thought it was some dude trying to be like edgy, like it's scary.
Mm,
Maybe
mm-hmm.
because in my line of business, writing and stuff, I've talked to a lot of people where you never see their face. You just talk online through Discord and
Mm-hmm.
shit.
Mm-hmm.
Something me and my other teammates try to change because we're like, hey, if we're working together, we got to feel like
Yeah.
we all know and can trust each other.
Yeah.
But if they choose not to, they don't have to. It's fucking. We're
Mm-hmm.
not going to force anyone or anything.
Yeah.
So I was kind of used to that, where I'm like, hey, people just kind of talk weird on
Yeah.
online. So,
Yeah.
but now that you put that, like, yeah, that could be part of it. But
Mm-hmm.
also, now that we look back on it, he's playing in that game, so I
Yes.
think he's trying to put on a voice or trying to be like part of that, like playing a certain type of character.
And so yeah, like you get to that moment and you suddenly realize, oh my god, this is the tragic, very sad, not relatable to me at all, people who can only connect by doing the bit.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot be me. Me is right out. I don't know how to be me with other
Yeah.
people. Let's do this, whatever this is, where we're both playing a very specific prescribed role, and that feels safe and good. And also like the fucking terror that people feel once we do have that. No, I would really like to just be like real for a minute and talk to you about, I think something's going on. Yeah.
And we'll get to how long this dude's been playing the game, because there's a very specific line. I'm like, oh yeah, this dude's been in it since maybe like the 90s, like or like early aughts.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's that term he uses, unmasking, and explains it as an MMO thing. I'm like, yeah, I know that as an MMO thing. And I'm like, oh fuck, we're old. Yeah, that's he probably played. I never played World of Warcraft, but he probably played World of Warcraft, and that's where that shit comes from. Or like fucking RuneScape or whatever was before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm sure there's a foreign one, but I'm just not remembering. Anyway, but it was that, because that means he's been online for a long time,
a very long time. Yeah,
very long time. Yeah, so we get to that conversation between them, and essentially the thing is, he's like, I want to see where this goes. Keep making more videos. We're gonna observe you, which is like, now she's been given everything to be
she
like,
wants.
yes, we're making progress in this thing. And she still have the belief, she's still fully in it, so it's like, finally I can start experiencing things. And to some extent it works, because she believes it so much.
Mm-hmm.
She has that paranormal activity kind of moment, which they specifically use because that's what she referenced.
Yeah, several times. Yes. Yeah.
As a big influence for her. We have those videos where she's walking around staring at the waterfalls, or like around the area. Vlogs of her life, and just like, even out in public, it feels like she's alone type deal, staring at waterfalls. Like that line, if I could, I would disappear and no one would ever be able to know that I did, or something to that effect. And then the New Year's thing, where everyone's in the town square or downtown for the drop. And yeah, she's in the back. She walked there. No one's saying hi. She's not saying hi to anyone. She just showed up for the one particular specific event, and is still filming her thing.
And shuddering and shaking. And so and I interpreted that as, the shuddering is cold because it's January, and that's a reference to her. She does still have feelings. She is still, or shuddering and shaking because she's feeling so overwhelmed with how tragic this
is. I hadn't
is.
thought about that. Yeah. I thought for reference I thought for a second you were referencing the Christmas lights. I'm like, I'm pretty sure she's just doing a light show. For that because it looks cool on the camera.
Yes.
But no, that's an interesting one for the New Year's. So we get more of that, and then we get that really cool shot in the bathroom with the yellow light that reminds me of that Cronenberg Sons movie, the one with the poster. That's what I'm talking about. The yellow one, the yellow poster, whatever it is. With that really cool shot where even when she's putting on the makeup, again, it's an intimate moment, but there's a camera there.
Yeah.
Showing it, but we're not looking from the camera that's in the mirror. We're looking from a different camera, which is interesting. As she gets into full, like, I'm ready to go. It's like rave paint, but she actually coats her entire body in like face. Versus like rave paint only doing like rings and shit, like patterns or whatever.
Yes.
Although I'll be real, I haven't gone to enough raves to know if people just slather that shit on like fucking baby oil and then try it and then come out.
No, she's definitely going for like,
yeah.
I'm trying to look nuts. Like,
yeah,
what the
crazy.
Yeah.
I'm ready to party type. But it is rave paint, kind of going back to World's Fair thing. And we get her destroying the lemur, which is the
stuffy.
one thing. Yeah, her little stuffy. The thing that hangs around her neck, the one possession that comforts her. Going back to comfort Nick. And that she's always with, that kind of makes her feel not alone. Destroys it. Claiming that she's like possessed or something from this other person. And then we get the eye shot that's in the thing. And she goes away, comes back, and is like, "Oh, what did I do?"
And it's a very believable performance in that moment. Like, I was there with her. I thought like, oh wow, that's enough that I was still thinking. I at that moment in the movie, at least, had not made up my mind whether or not she was doing a performance or was genuinely having some kind of supernatural something. Yeah.
That beginning, that, like we said, the reason we talked about the intro so much is because that it really does throw you for a loop, especially when you get to later parts of this movie.
Yeah.
But I mean, by now, I was like, I think because I wanted it to be real, which means, hey, the movie worked.
Yeah.
Maybe because I want the creepy shit to be real. I want to watch creepy shit. But that's not what this movie is. This movie is, we get to the reveal, we get to the conversation with JLB. She's like, I want to take this to the next level. Let's go. Let's fucking do this. And we get the conversation of unmasking. Like, hey, you don't really believe this, right? Like, this is ARG. We're playing characters. I mean, your performance has been amazing. Right. So I can't tell. But also, he's seeing the writing on the wall of like, yo, mentally, there are signs of like maybe suicidal tendencies, or like it reminds him of thoughts he's had in like as a teenager, because he specifically mentions those, and he remembers where his head was at.
Yeah.
Which is why, well, if we're interpreting it kind of like for what it is at the on the surface, which is why he's like reaching out to help after. Like we get that scene of him going to his living room, turning on the TV. I want to ask a quick question. I know this is way off topic, and this is going to kill momentum.
No, right? Go ahead.
Should I? This is very different. Should I change? You know what? I'm going to save this. We're going to put a pin on him holding that remote real quick for later.
Okay.
So does that, and he's like, no. That's not what he says, but that's more or less. Then while we follow him back up through the house, and he's alone in the house. In fact, every time we see him using the computer, he's alone. We only see someone enter the house once, and I don't think he's at the computer at that point.
Yeah.
But we're tracking him in the house. He goes back and does one last thing, and he puts his hand on the monitor, and that's the last shot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we forgot. She signs out. She's very upset.
Oh, she's furious.
She's furious. She feels stupid. Incredibly upset, frustrated, feels stupid, feels like she's been played, takes her anger out. Or like, I guess, yeah, kind of, but like, closes the thing. Don't message me again. Calls him a pedophile, and then leaves. Then leaves the chat, and then that's where we get the whole scene of him going through the house, sitting and kind of like meditating with what's going on, going back, and then like doing what we find out's a prayer later.
Yes. Yeah.
And then it cuts to back to the footage of the waterfall, saying if I ever disappeared again. And I swear to God, I thought that's where our movie was going to end.
Same.
I thought that was the end.
Yeah.
But no, there's a monologue where 1 year later, he talks about, and we'll get into this monologue, where he talks about going to meet up with her, or finding out what happened to her, that she went into assisted living for 6 months, got out, they met up for lunch or coffee or something in New York, which I guess they're in rural New York, is the confirmation there. So I said middle America, but or she could have been somewhere else. Either way, they wound up in New York. Yeah, they wound up in New York City, grabbed coffee, talked, and it wasn't until like they're waiting for the train to leave and they know they're never going to see each other again. Oh, and having that awkward thing of meeting someone from online, being like, "Wow, this is weird."
Yeah.
And talking about that day and how like they were both sorry and how he like prayed for her. She's glad she's okay. Or he's glad she's okay. She's going to like theater school, which I didn't know how old she was, but also like I am now of that age where everyone who is younger than me looks like a child. So
yes,
I can't. You can't ask me to do ages anymore. I just don't know.
You could have told me she was 16. You could have told me she was 24. I would have.
Wow, no, I don't know about that. I thought she was like 14. Like,
really? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I thought she was young. Yeah, I thought she.
Well, it is the space, the context of where she is as well. I think.
Yeah.
Like, not only does she look very young, she's also got like the little moons and stars and the plushy monkey and all that. Yeah, yeah.
And that's not that out there. People, if you've been living in one place for so long, it's gonna look something like that. But also, to your credit, Ian, you work with kids, so like you probably have a better grasp on ages than I do now. I haven't like mentored kids in like forever. Taught kids since like college, you know.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man, and there's that crazy effect. This is just a side tangent. There's that crazy effect where people look younger for a lot longer now.
Yes. Seen that? Well, because I'm looking at me. I'm the age I am, and I'm looking at people my age from 95 or whatever, and they look like they're dying. Like, and I'm like, were people like smoking a pack of cigarettes every day? Why
so I know one of the bigger things is like just sunscreen. It's like a big deal.
Okay.
But anyway, it's a crazy whole thing. If y'all ever want to like search that.
George Costanza is supposed to be the same age as me in season 2 of Seinfeld. That's unimaginable.
Wow.
What are you talking about?
That's so fucking funny.
That guy isn't even in the same decade as. What are you talking about? Anyway. Yeah.
And he was in charge of an advertising firm. What are you doing, Ian?
What are you doing with your fucking life if you're not selling Doritos?
Or if you're not joining the Buchanans and throwing up gang signs.
God, Jesus. If you're not on the Yankees staff, what are you doing?
Here's always an anchor point I do. Homer Simpson's 35 in The Simpsons.
Jesus.
So y'all fucking remember that. Like, um. Anyway, but the back to the monologue.
Yeah.
And that everything seems like she's gonna be all right. That everything's gonna be all right.
Mm-hmm.
That because they formed this bond online, she was able to get the help she needed in some weird roundabout way.
Yeah.
Again, it's like the top text if we're gonna talk about stuff later. But that's pretty much the movie. Very slow. Very. I like its vibes. A lot of its vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of mess with it. I do mess with it myself. But let's talk about some of the bigger things. Is there anything you guys want to like really tackle before I make some suggestions?
Just two quick kind of style notes that I wanted to throw out really quick, because earlier you had said that she watched season 3 of Twin Peaks, and the pacing of this movie is Lynchian.
Oh, it absolutely is.
The ability to just have the camera stay put and not do and to have a take that lasts, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, and just let the moment play out. Don't cut. You don't have to speed it up. Just be here now, and it does something to you. Just being forced to be in the present moment.
Yeah.
And really not thinking, what's the next thing in the plot? What's, that's very... That's
line thing. You feel it's a lot more intimate, that way. You feel like you're there with the character. Or it allows you to connect more emotionally, kind of feel what they're feeling with.
Definitely. When you have all that dead air to start thinking, well, what is she thinking? What would I be thinking? That sort of... and the video that JBL made for JLB, damn.
I know, dude. I've been making this mistake the entire time I've been watching the movie.
JBL speakers, yeah.
Because we're thinking of JBL speakers. That's what.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah,
that's what it is. That video, the text, and the distorted image of our protagonist.
Yeah.
Truthfully, I immediately made me think of Inland Empire by David Lynch, because I think he does something like that with Laura Dern's face in the movie. So I was like,
oh, since I've seen it. You'd have to look that up.
But what are some big ideas that you guys want to hit upon?
Nick, you want to go first because I've been talking for a little bit. So.
Well, no, I'm trying to think of anything new to say in regards to kind of what's been going over in terms of themes. Like, I think for me, like the dysmorphia, essentially of certain things. I definitely, at least like thinking about it, like I can definitely see some of that in regards to like the footage that JLB sees of the other ARG guy.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about it. That scene where that dude's pulling the tickets out of his arm.
Yes.
Well, I wasn't too completely sold on the monologue. The effects of that pulling out the ticket, that looked fantastic. Whoever did that should feel incredibly proud. That looks amazing.
The fucking mold of the skin, dude. Nick, I totally forgot about that shot. What a beautiful... because it's also, we're finally getting a close on what we've been seeing from a far angle. Like it's if I'm not wrong, it's like a vertical shot of a guy in a bathroom, like 4 feet away, like 3 feet away from us. So then we get this close up that's suddenly so graphic, so disorienting, so gross. It's great. Love it.
And I don't remember exactly what he says in monologue. It's something either about like how he's going to like kill himself or kill his family, or it has already done it. It's something like that. But that shot of the ticket pulling is like A+. That whoever did that should be incredible.
Good stuff.
That looked amazing. I'm sorry, Nick. Keep going.
No, I mean, like the whole scene, like at least like looking back on those scenes, that's what I was thinking. Like there is this sort of specifically with like how the ARG is about the bodies changing and how like JLB sees a video of someone who took it too far. That's what I mean. That's what I was thinking. Maybe that's his motivation for trying to help Casey.
Oh, so do you think? Well, because he's playing the game like throughout the entire movie before the final monologue. So I'm thinking motivation. To me, it felt like he found someone who, they're as committed to the game as I am.
Yeah.
As to believing in this world, and we can kind of connect that way. And how does he connect? He connects via in game, as if he's some like third party part or some game master who knows like all about it. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about JLB.
Okay.
Let's talk about it. I think that's a big thing in this movie. How do y'all feel about this being like? Because I don't know what you all thought when you heard an older dude talking to this girl, but I immediately went to grooming and like something nefarious, right? Like, and the fact that he's not showing his face, and now that you mentioned the weird breathing thing, we could interpret it all to a character, but I mean, like, she got real lucky, right? In this movie, like that it wasn't this older dude was not taking advantage of someone who is so disillusioned with the game. And not because she's like, I don't think it's because she's an idiot that she's like disillusioned. She buys into this because it's the only thing that, if one, to Nick's thing, her life will change because she feels stuck and isolated from everyone around her, and like her setting isn't adding to that. Her setting is making her very isolated, which leads to the New York thing, one of the busiest places in the world. So is where she goes to. But that's what makes the game so enticing to her, especially if all she's doing every night is playing YouTube videos and letting those like fucking just go without any like input or anything. Of the idea of this ARG is incredibly enticing to her. And wouldn't it be great if it was real type deal? So like, and making that real.
Well, and how many young people are lonely, isolated, disillusioned, and their only social connections are, and I don't know if this is just my own experiences coloring my take, but like, I feel like there's a fuck ton of people, especially under us, where, especially because as you mentioned, I have worked with kids for a long time, especially like post COVID, like
especially post COVID.
the number of like kids who don't really go out of the house to third locations to chill, and whose only social connection are people they've never physically met face to face is more. There's a lot more of it. It's a lot more common. Yeah.
Especially during those 2 years where like schools were locked down.
Right? But as a habit, like that's just continued for some people, even after the fact. Yeah.
And it's easy. It's easy to keep the videos going. It's everyone's got a phone. Everyone's got a computer now. Like but yeah, and like her only connection is are these people she's seeing online. She's seeing images of beauty, people who are doing performances, and like people who are feeling things that, even if it's just like numbness and the dude slapping, that's different than what she's experiencing. So wouldn't it be great to experience something like that, right? And and the idea that it's a fair, I know we were talking about JLB. I'll get back to that. But I think we need to establish Casey before we talk to JLB.
Okay.
The idea that it's a World's Fair, that's kind of like a giant like festival, like music fest, because I think they even showed a map where it's like this is what it theoretically looks like. There's stages here, there's bands going on. It's all your favorite bands. They're all going to play. That's like I'm gonna experience my favorite things on the other side, and I could just be there forever. I could be somewhere else forever, and it would be constant influx of like just different sensations, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's incredibly enticing to believe that it's real.
Sure.
Sure. She wants it to be real. So part of that's like her being like, yeah, it's a game. Maybe that explains why she either admits to it so fast because she doesn't want to seem like stupid to someone else. Because you could also argue like it could be a facade like falling off. For her, like, oh, no, or to her admitting like, no, we're back in reality. I am alone here.
Yeah.
Which is a very dangerous spot for her to be. It's a necessary step to break the illusion, but it is like a very precarious spot to be for someone who has like ideations of suicide, right?
Well, and if the World's Fair is a like a parallel to Suicide to Heaven, kill yourself and go to the wonderful place, like the idea that he says, oh, she went to the World's Fair that night, you can interpret as, yeah, the ARG was real, she had a supernatural experience and he rescued her, or like, she tried to kill herself that night and he prayed about it and she by some miracle lived. Exactly. Yeah.
That's how I interpret it. Like, okay. Anything else about Casey before we talk about JLB real quick?
No, just to say again, great kudos to that performer, and
yeah, she's great.
Oh my god, I believed her.
Absolutely. Which is good because like this movie would be impossible to watch if they weren't good good at the performance, you know?
Yeah, that would be torturous.
Nick, anything to say about Casey before I move to JLB?
No, again, like performance wise, I definitely loved it, especially at the end. It was cool to kind of have a performance that is, I guess, for the audience also very disorienting.
Yeah.
See, it kind of it was kind of weird, but it kind of felt like when I was watching American Psycho of that like the main character being like this uncertainty of like what's like genuine versus what's like what's like a sort of part of the facade or like part of the whole
this invented world.
Yeah. This whole fabrication.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, I like that.
Okay. So back to JLB. Back to my thing of she got real lucky.
Yeah.
That he was in a pervert. Yeah.
It wasn't just some sick fuck who's like, here's an opportunity to take advantage of someone. Because it's like, it's the nightmare scenario you think of, because it's she's disillusioned. She's fully trusting this dude she's never met, doesn't know the face of, just knows he showed up by like in kind of a weird magical way with that video just showing up on her screen. Like someone who gets it, who's gonna be who wants to go to the World's Fair too. So it makes me wonder how much this movie is like, especially with so many so much of it surrounding YouTube, and you get all these stories of different YouTubers who are groomers, especially in the last few years, just popping up. How much this movie's about that, and I wanted to hear y'all's opinion on that take.
Ooh, what do you think? What you want to have a hot take, Nick, to throw out straight away?
Yeah, because I'm kind of hinting at the subtext here is like about grooming, but
yeah, I mean, I told Christian earlier that before the podcast that I argue that this relationship is the happy ending for Hard Candy.
Yeah.
Wow.
I forgot you said that. That's really good.
This is the best case scenario where it's all just a misunderstanding.
It's
No,
not, and not
guys.
only is it a misunderstanding, that's the thing that's getting me with this movie of how convenient it is. Like that. Oh, not only that, he saw the signs too, and has had that. Granted, it's not unreasonable to think that someone who's been online that long, like, and has like talked to a lot of people who are into the same things he's into,
Right.
like, that's actually way more common than like I think most people realize until you start talking to others about it, like especially online. But
when I'm thinking about that character,
yeah,
and again, the actor did it great in his like set in that little like 90s like press wood
yeah,
desk. I mean, I honestly I immediately was like, oh well, I know people who are maybe not that old, but like, oh, I know guys who are like into this into. Have we talked about Nexpo before on
yeah,
any
yeah.
iteration of the show?
Oh no, I mean I just started off this podcast talking about like I watch stuff because the story part of it, like, because it's fascinating to me the whole movement.
Yes. Yes.
To the point where like I've thought about going to one of the things if I became a professor, one of the things I would want to talk about is like this internet as a medium for storytelling. It was specifically about like the rise of unfiction,
Yeah.
uh, and
Yeah.
ARGs, creepypastas, and all that.
Hmm.
Especially as a weird Wild West that
Yeah.
anyone could put up whatever, which is why the majority, like I could argue, is bad because it is.
Yeah.
But I would also argue, I mean, our argument for any medium is a healthy medium means that the vast majority of things are bad. Like
That's how it is. That's a numbers game. Yeah.
that means that means you're doing great. People are putting shit out. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
people are participating, people are building, and you need that.
Yes. It's a healthy diet of
Yeah.
turning it over. But I don't know.
But yeah, back to your thing about Nexpo.
When I saw that, I was like, okay, I definitely know at least two dudes who do live more or less alone and do have a setup like this and like
Yeah.
give an unreasonable amount of their mind and time to like the UFO abduct. Like I think all that stuff is cool and interesting, but I also like do other stuff.
Oh man.
With
Hey,
no
remind me.
place.
I got a UFO story to tell. Not that I've
Oh,
seen
please.
one, but the exact scenario you're talking about.
Oh,
Where I'm
okay.
like, wow, I think all that shit's cool. Looks great.
Yeah. But no, I
I don't
immediately.
think it's a government conspiracy, man. Oh shit. No, it's fine.
It's the feds you got
So
anyway.
I know. Oh man. All right,
He,
you keep going.
they both felt like very genuine, real, lonely people to me.
Okay.
Like and distinct in the way that I know who that is though.
Yeah.
That dude is looking for connection to anybody again through the kind of play acting of the ARG
Yeah.
but they also like literally have somebody say something to the effect of, I know you're kind. I know that you're a very lonely person and you don't have much going on in your, real life. Something like that. Is that ringing
Yeah.
a bell? Like a young woman saying that to camera, but it's not our protagonist. It's another actor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I mean like we can go on and on. Like the lesson should be don't underestimate the power of loneliness
True.
to influence our decision making and our outlooks on life and who
Yeah.
we're essentially going to end up like hanging out with.
Yeah.
I could argue that that's why like alt right stuff does so fucking well.
Yeah.
That's why. Oh my god! Well, if anyone's seen that Flat Earth documentary about the two like big voices of that movement,
Yeah.
that ending of the dude like being asked straight up. So what if like, and being honest here, like you found out that you got there was something that could convince you totally that the Earth is round. Would you change your mind? And the guy went, I don't think I could ever go away from this. because not because like of some evil nefarious thing, but because he is like a celebrity now. He feels loved and welcomed. He has friends. He's going to conventions. He like, it's all good, good vibes, man. Even like the anger that comes from arguing people. The thing a lot of people don't understand about anger is like you get like a dopamine rush from that shit. That's why people can get like addicted to being angry.
Yeah.
It's all just these emotions they want to feel. That's not isolation or apathy, you know?
Yes, exactly.
So yeah, you know guys like that. And they're trying to connect. What would you say that makes it believable that this dude wouldn't be like a predator? Because like, okay. So let's
Yes.
this dude is who he is in this thing.
Yeah.
He can see her face.
He can, yeah.
And at no point does he go like, maybe I shouldn't be talking to this young girl.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're an actor, that's fine and all, but maybe I shouldn't be doing one-on-one rooms online.
This could.
I don't know, man. Like, there's things in that like it's not unfounded, right? Like, I don't feel like
No. Like straight up, I would probably not be comfortable doing what that guy did, like at all. Even if I had my face out, like I would just. Oh, probably not. I don't.
And he goes after her.
He does.
He knows what she looks like. Yeah.
I don't know. Like if the goal from the beginning was I'm seeing signs of ideation in you, and I really think you're lonely. Maybe I would have taken a less direct route, but like. I don't know. Like if you I don't know. If you were the kind of person who is terminally online and someone in your little circle, you're like, you know what, I went through something like that as an adolescent and I'm definitely seeing it. Like you're right. I think what he did is still fucking creepy and like not necessarily justifiable.
Yeah.
But I understand him wanting to jump in as genuinely the good Samaritan in this story, I suppose.
Yeah, and I think what I'm getting at, right, is that even with that, even we know that it works out all in the end. Assuming, by the way, I haven't even talked about my idea that maybe the monologue he's just fucking lying. Because who is he that recording for? It's recording for himself. And we could argue that's him trying to make himself feel better. But I feel like I got less flimsy evidence on that, so let's just assume it's real.
Sure.
Even with all that the attention is I needed there was some master thing at the beginning, which I don't think it is. I think he genuinely believes that she's playing the game, and I'm also playing the game. Let's connect because we're players in this world.
Yeah.
Granted, well, that we're players in this world. That's what I think is going on. But even then, like if he sees like this isolation at the beginning and possible ideations of suicide, there's got to be a better way to become in contact with her and or find help than just talking privately on a Skype thing.
Yeah.
And on a Skype room or making a weird edited video of her
with a scary
face
picture
from a video.
Yeah, I agree. You're right. You're right.
It's still weird.
Yeah.
So okay, listen. I think what I'm getting at here is like there's a way to watch this movie for me where it is not at all. I'm not at all blaming her because to me it's a kid. She's going through some crazy mental stuff right now, in an environment that is not helping that at all. And this guy, where even if it was just it's instant participation in the thing, I still think that's fucking creepy.
That's weird.
Especially because I feel like they chose someone who both sounds and looks way older.
Oh yeah, he's like 50 something, I think. Like yeah.
I don't. Yeah. So that comes to my thing of what I got out of the movie. So let me Let me think about that for a little bit, but let me ask you guys, what do you think of that whole thought process that I'm throwing out right now?
I think the movie kind of does that deliberately. It's
I
a
think so
deliberate
too.
choice.
That's why I'm like stuck on it for so much, right?
Like, it wanted you to come with that thought so that it could then say, yeah, but this time he was just chill. He was a good guy. Well, because also, if they had cast that character as
Yeah.
any other kind of person, it theoretically would have immediately been maybe not even something that we register, or we would register it slightly differently.
Yeah,
If it
that's what I'm
was,
saying, right? Like,
yeah,
because it's still grooming if it's someone like over 18 and she's not,
true.
and like, or if he's in his 20s and she's below 18, that's still
Or if it's a
fucking gross
woman
and
that
weird.
age.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it needs to be obvious, right? We
Yes.
can't have someone who's actually 30 playing an 18-year-old or like and all
Yeah.
that. We need to look at them, especially if they're not going to go, "Hi, my name's blank and blank. This is my age."
Yes. Yeah.
That type deal. It's like, no, they have to let you have to notice this gap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nick, what do you think? What do you think about what I'm throwing out when I'm laying down here?
No, I think it's more than reasonable. I mean,
Okay.
I mean, it's normal. I mean, it's definitely reasonable to have that kind of concern. I mean, like, I'm just trying to think. I don't know. It's maybe that's why it's such a good ending. Maybe because
Yeah.
it's such a thing. Like, it is, technically the best case scenario
Yeah.
in that kind of situation.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
For
think,
something that starts off really bad, but yeah.
really bad. And it's weird because like it's like if we're going and if we do go with both parties don't have ill intention, but still the behavior is definitely definitely problematic.
Yeah.
And I do agree with Chris where I wasn't sure what the story he was telling was true, because then it's like, well, he's looking at the camera. Is it making a video for himself? Like, is he posting like?
I think they show he's recording like an audio thing for himself at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, is that for himself? Is that for an audience?
And I mean, that comes back to the center of the movie, which is the uncertainty of the realities we are presented with, or that we cater for ourselves. And I don't know, like, did this young woman really understand what she was doing, or was she like kind of scrambled up in a bunch of self-catered, like a lot of bad elements all coming together? Is that, what about that guy? How do we even know that that's not the case for him?
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. So I just remembered something. That thing you were saying about like, it makes me want to go back through the movie and see if if this is what they actually said, which is he's a big YouTuber. Because if he is, there could be a way to interpret that monologue as like he's a big YouTuber helping out a very small channel. This young girl. So there's already a power dynamic there, especially for two people who really not worship YouTube, but they want to be part of this like machine, right? Like of making videos and stuff. In some way, could that video at the end be for his audience? Because he's been helping out a small channel. They've been posting the videos. This is very predicated on just that one thing being real. So that's why I'm kind of like skirting around. But the idea would be that it could justify the idea that the monologue at the end is made up, or is that it's not real. Because it could be him covering his ass. But that does predicate a lot on just one single line of saying he's a big YouTuber.
Yes.
Instead of like visual evidence, right?
I'm inclined. Here's my take. My personal take is that it's genuine.
Okay.
this is a happy ending for the girl we've been following the whole movie.
I want to
But
believe too, Ian. I want to believe.
I want to believe. But I do think that the movie posits itself agnostically as much as it can.
I agree with
Like,
that.
yeah.
It's very much on purpose. Like, I wouldn't be having this conversation unless, like, I thought all these little things were, like, done intentionally, right?
Yeah.
Because then I would just go, "Oh, that's just my head connecting dots where the piece isn't making them," you know. Okay, but that leads into our thing. What we get out of it, right? What'd you all get out of it? What? Let's start with Nick. Nick, you haven't said anything. What'd you get?
I got out of it a happy ending for Hard Candy.
Yay!
Yeah.
Go watch Hard Candy, everybody. Nick says.
Please do. Yeah, watch it. Good time of year to watch it.
Yeah, good time of year. Good time of fucking year to watch that, especially with all the nightmare shit I was just talking about on this podcast.
If you want a story where, oh my god, we can't talk about Hard Candy.
No. I've said some terms on here that I'm like, I wonder if YouTube's gonna catch that. Like, if they're gonna, well, we don't make money off this shit anyway, so
yeah. What are they
gonna do? Fucking not. Ian, what'd you get out of the?
I got some great kind of Lynchian pulls. I really dug. I got two performers kind of driving this whole movie.
Yeah.
And as we talked a lot at the top, but as a person the age I am, like, I got a lot of, honestly, like, uncanny valley feelings at certain points of this movie, where it did feel like YouTube running for me. Like, scary, sexy lady in latex, check. Fucking an expo kind of spooky talk video.
I thought that was just a weird fetish thing. I didn't even know it was supposed to be spooky, but
I mean, it's spooky to some, delightful to others. Who's to say?
Who's to say?
Who's to say? But yeah, it's actually a really great film, and I'm excited to talk more about this writer, or just like a wonderful trilogy of films that they're working on.
Yes.
Oh, and I'll throw out, they are working on something called Afterlife Public Access as a trilogy of novels that are also going to be coming out.
That's wild. Well, good for them.
Yeah.
They directed and wrote this, which it feels like that. It feels like a vision.
Very much so. What about you, Nick? What'd you get out of it?
Oh no, he just said he got a Hard Candy.
Yeah. Yes, Hard Candy.
What did Chris get out of it? Well, if we're to believe just the kind of like what I'm calling the surface text, right? Then it's a nice story. It's a happy ending of two people inexplicably meeting up online, and they're able to help each other out through their connection, like in this ARG, right? Especially for someone who is dying for any other connection, anything outside of whatever her little isolated place in the world. And that connection ultimately leads her keeping her life, or to keep going, you know. Or we are watching a movie about the dangers of grooming and how easy it is to fall into that, not because you're dumb or anything, not because you're an idiot, but because you're in a very specific place at a very specific time in your life. That just allows that kind of thing to happen. And then they got very lucky that it didn't.
Yes.
Skipper. Yes. And then unless they're lying at the end, which that's the one thing I'm like, that's still there, but I'm just gonna say he's not, because I really don't have enough evidence, I think, to justify a false like monologue.
Right.
But it does have a lot of that. I mean, that's always on the back of my head for this.
I agree.
Everything. Which, hey, that means that's a good movie. We're able to talk about it for that long.
It's a movie that I think, in the Lynchian sense, it's gonna sit with you because of the answers it refuses you.
Yeah.
It wants you to go back and watch it again and earn.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe there is, like you say, maybe there is something more to be gleaned here, but it's something in this area around power and loneliness and just what do we need to feel connected again? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, that's a great way to put that.
Yeah.
The only other thing, there was one last thing. Oh yeah,
What we
the horror
listen to?
question. Is it horror?
Oh.
It is if you believe my interpretation, my second interpretation of the film. It's very scary. It's very realist. I mean, I would argue. I don't know if I call it horror. I don't know if I would call it a thriller either. It's probably closer to psychological horror.
It's psychological horror, but
Lynchian.
it's got a lot of tonal stuff that feels
Yeah.
very it feels meditative even in the
Yeah.
scary moments.
Yeah, and a lot of the scary moments are like, oh yeah, this is where they're at, like type thing.
Yeah. No.
It's more about what it brings up in you, type deal in that case, which is like that's what horror does. Whether you believe it, even if it's just a dude with a knife, the fear is, wow, I hope I don't get stabbed by a dude with a knife.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
True.
but yeah. Okay, so the denouement, anything to check out? What do we recommend having watched this? Nick, would you like to go first?
Go watch the 2006 classic Hard Candy
Yes, let's
to see the true route to this.
See how this one should have ended. Yeah.
Oh, should have ended. That's the word you want to use, Ian.
Should have. Yeah. We should have done ball surgery. That's how this one should have ended too.
Oh my god, dude. It's a good recommendation though. That's a hey man, you want a disturbing movie, that's a disturbing movie.
Fuck yeah.
With weird comedic timing.
Dark.
Right.
Yeah.
Ian, what would you recommend?
I would recommend maybe checking out Mulholland Drive. It's a long one.
That, yeah.
It's tonal and it's meditative and it's a very odd film, but beautiful visuals. Yeah, I'll think of one other one so you can think of a different one if you need. I'll also recommend check out like Lynch's early work maybe. Mm-hmm. He did a short series called Bunnies where it's a pastiche on like sitcoms.
Yeah.
And the troubling thing is you have to basically, it's like, oh gosh, 8.5 hours altogether of shorts that you can play back to back. And all of the dialogue is desynchronized. So you have to watch things out of order for the context to maybe start to fall together. I don't know. That's a studying kind of thing, but I enjoyed it.
You're making him sound like such a fucking asshole. And to some extent it is, but like that's part of the charm, like or love of it. Like
if you've been listening to us and you enjoy the work of Alan Resnick, for example, like
I was gonna recommend that to you.
Oh shit! Well, fuck me.
It's okay. No. That's fine. It saves time.
Well, no, just to say that it is something that's going to make the audience earn it. Like they don't really hand you that much. They do make you fucking look at it, think about it, earn the answers. Yeah.
Oh my god, I want to get this name right because it just reminded me of something that would be a perfect recommendation.
Sure.
Oh crap! While I'm looking that up, let me. You know what? While I'm looking that up, let me ask the question I was going to ask. There's twice in this movie where someone holds a remote one to the projector and one to the TV, JLB, and they both hold it. They're sitting down in their lap, and they're holding the remote to their crotch, like bump to crotch with the thing pointed on. Very like phallic, like they're holding their dick to to the thing. And this happens twice in the movie. I just got asked, does anyone change the channel to their TV like this? Discuss, because I don't. I do the thing where I'm like trying to find the fucking, like I'm in Harry Potter or something.
Nick, do you do dick mode? I don't think I do dick mode. I don't think I do.
No, I just pick up the remote, keep my arms distance from the TV, and then just hit the button.
Okay.
I don't whip it out, no.
Okay. Well, different strokes, I guess. I don't know, guys.
Different strokes for different folks.
That's right.
Oh my god, it's an internet horror thing. It's not Hi, I'm Mary Mary. That's a different one.
Is it Marble Hornets or
No. Okay, it's the one where they have a like puppet, paper-shaped puppet that's blue, and you're watching it grow bigger.
Oh,
the homunculus?
No, it's not called homunculus.
I know which one Chris is talking about. Hang on.
I know, dude. I
really like that one.
It's one of the best like pieces of unfiction I think online.
There's a lovely young lady. She's locked in a house.
Yes.
And she's got a sick puppet for a brother.
Yeah, or some family thing, right?
Yes. This I do remember. Jenny, maybe?
Ooh. Fuck me. Okay. This is gonna bug me, man. Because I really liked that one. I watched it as it like ended. Nightmind did a video on it. I know that. So I'm kind of like going back through his catalog right now.
Good timing, yeah.
Good timing.
Oh, Daisy Brown.
Daisy Brown. Oh, thank you, Nick.
Brown.
Oh, thank fucking God you found that.
That was cool.
That one's a good one. I'd highly recommend that. It deals with very similar themes that I was talking about in my second interpretation of the thing. Where, yeah, you see how just kind of slow and easy it is to fall into a really upsetting relationship. Like a very bad kind of relationship. But yeah. That'll do it. So no one holds the remote like that, like in the movie.
I'm now curious if in the next movie we're gonna get more.
We're gonna notice that. You know what? Hey, let's do that. Whatever we watch from now on. Okay, so that leads to our closing regards. I know this has already been a long one, but this has been an early preview to Halloween month, aka October, where we did a horror movie. We did a consider this a bonus to the already other bonuses we will be doing through the month. Where next week there won't be a podcast, but instead we will have one on the. Let me make sure I got the dates right. The 8th of October, the 15th of October, the 22nd of October, and the 31st. That is 4 total podcasts for the month of October. We'll be doing. Why? Because we fucking love this month and we're crazy and we want to tackle as much as we can time wise to stuff, and this seemed like kind of the way to do it. There was a lot of lineup changes for what the videos were going to be about, but we have finally settled. So we already kind of hinted, but on the 8th of October, the first that podcast will be on I Saw the TV Glow. Same person who wrote and directed that one.
Yep.
Obvious one to do. The 15th, we are not straying away from the year of the Fast and Furious. Yep. So we will be continuing with Hobbs and Shaw. Very spooky.
Ooh.
For the 15th of October. Keeping that up. The 22nd. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was trying to remember the word that Nick used earlier. It's a Polynesian spooky. It's
This is where they go to the Rock's like home, right? Or the Hobbs's home.
They go to Hobbs' home and they have beautiful tiki drink, and it's the what was the list the seasonal menu called?
Mahalloween.
It's Mahalloween. That's
what we're gonna do. That's what we
That's
do.
what it is. Yeah.
Oh my god, I lost my calendar. There we go. The 22nd of October will be Happiness.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we'll watch that movie. And then the 31st, we'll be doing a book. Our first book, technically, that's not, no, graphic novel.
Graphic novel.
Graphic novel, but we will be doing a novel here.
Yep.
We will be doing the very new, it literally just came out like a couple days ago as of recording. Jason Pargin's latest book. I'm starting to worry about this Black Box of Doom. For those who don't know, I'm a huge fan of Jason Pargin. I think we all are, but even more so me. So I was really pushing for this shit. Wrote the John Dies at the End series, as well as the Zoe Ash series, which is a sci-fi.
Yep.
All contain like horror-like elements. While Zoe Ash is mostly sci-fi, a lot of that shit is pretty scary, like existentially. And this one, I'm not sure if it's horror, but I mean, like, he's been doing that for a while, and it's a standalone novel, so you do not have to read all of John Dies at the End or Zoe Ash. Although I would highly recommend doing that. But you can go out, just pick up. I'm starting to worry about this Black Box of Doom. It's an audio form as well. You can go get it from your library. If not, you can ask them to, order it and get it from your library like that. I've done that with books before.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what our Halloween episode is going to be. So that is the month of October. It's going to be kind of busy. It's going to feel like we're going to be putting out a ton, and then we're not. And then if we're going to go to a regular schedule, it's going to feel so much less.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty exciting stuff. Anything else before we officially close out?
Just pumped for the Halloween, the spook season, guys. As you say, it's the best time of year. Best time of year.
Best time of year. All right, go watch some horror stuff, y'all.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.